A very warm welcome to you. It's a pleasure as always to have you for company on this edition of Almond Finance and Wealth Report, your source for all the latest happenings in the world of business. My name is Margaret Mary Ostiobor. On this edition of the program, we join Faith and her guest, Professor Festus Epetimehin, who is the first professor of insurance and risk management in Nigeria, and also the Dean of the College of Management Sciences, Joseph Ayobabalola University, Ikeji, Arakeji, Osun State. Together, they x-ray the topic, the long road to microinsurance development in Nigeria. Professor Epetimehin said that unless governments at both the federal and state levels buy into microinsurance, not much success will be achieved. Do take a listen.
I'm thinking that for this microinsurance to gain ground and be practiced in this country the way it should be practiced, so that we can help in alleviating poverty and reducing the social risk of poverty among our people. I still believe that the federal government should take part. The state should even take part. Not individual now. The state should take part. The federal government should take part and play that role they are playing in agric insurance.
On this edition also, we will bring you the public launch of the book Pensions in Nigeria, written by Mr. Ezekiel Chejina, former Director General of the Nigerian Insurers Association. Plus, of course, all the other extras we bring you each week on this program. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the lineup. Details in just a moment. Please stay with us.
A very warm welcome to you. It's a pleasure to have you join us on the set of Almond Finance and Wealth Report this week. This week we've been looking at a very topical issue that is jamming to the insurance industry at the moment, talking about micro insurance. Today we'll be looking at the topic, the long road to microinsurance development in Nigeria. And to do justice to our topic of discuss, he's a very big fish, to put it that way. I'm talking about Professor Festus Epetimehin, who is the first professor of insurance and risk management in Nigeria, and he's also the Dean, College of Management Sciences, Joseph Ayobabalola University. He's our guest on the program this morning, and I'm very happy to be with him. Thank you so very much, Prof, for joining us on the program.
Thank you, Faith.
Thank you so very much. Okay, Prof, let me start with the very latest release guidelines on microinsurance capital requirements by the National Insurance Commission. They've pegged those that want to play at the national level at 600 million. Those at state level, minimum capital requirements is 100 million, and of course, units or individual players are expected to raise 40 million naira to start microinsurance business. I just want, what's your thoughts on the capital requirements?
I think, first of all, I want to thank the NICOM, that is the National Insurance Commission, for coming up with this guideline. We have all been looking forward to this guideline for some years now, because since we've been talking about insurance penetration, we have been looking at microinsurance as one of those products that will assist the insurance industry to penetrate more into this segment of this Nigeria. But for coming out with this product at this very point in time, I want to say thank you to NICOM. But from what you have said, yes, I read the guideline, and I want to say this morning that after going through the capital requirements, I want to say it's a bit on the high side. probably NICOM should have asked for opinions from other people who are going to be the players in this market before coming up with this capital requirement. Why have I said that is that if you look at microinsurance, for so many years now, many underwriters are not interested. Not to talk of now asking them to pay so much to be a player. And I was of the opinion that if you actually want people to come in and do justice to this microinsurance, what NICOM would have done is to probably bring the capital requirement to a very low level, where the players will go into it maybe for 1 or 2 years, and after 2 years, they'll be able to evaluate and review their policies, whether they want to go on with the microinsurance thing or not. But asking the players to come up with so much as capital to go into microinsurance business, I want to say it's on the high side, and it might jeopardize the interest of some of these players in coming into such venture.
Okay, Prof, you did mention now that interest in microinsurance has not been very high among insurance operators in Nigeria. Yeah. Why do you think that is so?
Yes, if you look at the nature of microinsurance, even from those that are that are in it globally, you see that the microinsurance business is a business that is not generating a lot of huge profit. You are not even sure of what it's going to bring, whether it's going to bring a loss or not. If you look at the capital outlay and the amount that is possible to come in from the venture, you will agree with me that most insurance companies will not want to go into it because they don't see the profitability side of the business. They don't see it bringing in enough profit to cover whatever that is going to be their outlay. And as a result, most of them are running away from it, because when you are talking about microinsurance, don't forget that we are talking about insurance for people, for low income, poor people, and so on. And so what do you get from them? Peanuts, if you really want to insure them. And by the time you look at what you are going to put in as capital and the amount you are going to generate at the end of the year, you see that there is nothing to write home about. So the best thing is to keep away from it, and that's why they've been keeping away from it. And don't forget that microinsurance, to be profitable, you need to look at the channel of distribution, you need to employ people, you have to put in a lot of capital in form of salaries and so on. By the time you bring all this together, you agree with me that is a lot. And as a result, most companies ran away from it. Even when I was a managing director, I tried it because, I was the managing director of a cooperative insurance organization. And we dealt seriously with the cooperators. And I believe we introduced this microinsurance, even though we didn't call it microinsurance. We call it risk management program for the cooperators. And how much were we charging? We were charging 6 kobo per 1,000 to insure them. So it means if you have 1,000 naira in savings, we charge 6 kobo per 1,000 per month. And if you have 1,000 naira in loan, we charge 6 kobo per 1,000 per month. And if you look at the amount we are able to gather at the end of the month, compared with the claims we have to pay, we discovered that we should have stopped it, but we couldn't stop it because the international body, who is our tanker partner, ICM, that is International Cooperative Mutual Insurance Federation, said to identify yourself as an insurance organization or to identify yourself as a cooperative insurer, you have to go into all these type of products. So we were just managing and trying to keep on, but it was not profitable then.
Okay, now, Prof, I do know that microinsurance, by definition, it's for social and economic development. In places like India that they've recorded some level of successes with microinsurance, you do find that under the public-private partnership mantra, the underwriters actually underwrite government-sponsored mass insurance programs to help the poor. Yeah. We really do not have that in Nigeria. So with our efforts at developing microinsurance, how do you think that is going to play out, or what is the role the government is expected to play?
It's going to play the same role, because by the time we're talking about microinsurance now, we are looking for insurance for the low people. I mean, low people, low masses, the low-income people, the poor masses. People, the way microinsurance goes is a woman with a kiosk selling 50,000 worth of goods. You can insure such a person on that 50,000 as the sum insured, and he will pay a token on that. So it's going to serve the same purpose you have mentioned if it's really being practiced the way it should be practiced. Or somebody like in these countries you mentioned, where you have people selling 4 or 5 cows. And how much is 4 or 5 cows? By the time you look at the amount of 4 or 5 cows, it's very small. But if there is microinsurance, such people will buy insurance to cover the 5 cows in case of death or anything. And they are going to pay token. So it's going to serve the same purpose if well practiced in Nigeria. But my prayer is that there will be people who will be interested in playing that role.
Okay, but as I said, in places like India, you actually find government motivating or sponsoring part of what's underwriters, part of their interest to insure the poor, because they are paying partly, let's say subsidy, for example, for encouraging underwriters to actually provide products to cover these poor people in society. We do not have that as we speak. So how do you think we can bring in the government to at least generate some form of interest among those that want to go into microinsurance practice?
Yes, in a well-structured and organized country, that is how it should be. And I believe the government of Nigeria can still participate in this microinsurance thing to help the masses, the poor masses, the way they are doing in the area of agric insurance. Because if you look at the agric insurance today, the government is subsidizing up to 50% of the premium, and when there's a claim, up to 50%. I'm thinking that for this microinsurance to gain ground and be practiced in this country the way it should be practiced, so that we can help in alleviating poverty and reducing the social risk of poverty among our people, I still believe that the federal government should take part. The state should even take part, not individual now. The state should take part. The federal government should take part and play that role they are playing in agric insurance. So that if the federal government is okay, you are talking about 600 million. Okay, let us set up microinsurance company like they did for NAIC. They set it up, put in everything there. I say, okay, whatever be the profit or the claim or anything or the premium, we will pay half and let the client pay half. This microinsurance thing will thrive, I can assure you. In fact, some of these insurance companies will want to take part because they want the federal government to come with half of the money. Why they come with half of the money? I mean the capital. And they will now be running it jointly. So it will become this insurance company in partnership with the federal government. So when they know that the federal government is going to pay half, and whatever premium comes in, the federal government will pay half, and when there is a claim, the federal government will pay half, people will join. I mean the insurance company, underwriters will want to take part. And so I think what we should do more is to sensitize the federal government and even the state government to be partners in this crusade of microinsurance. It's been long overdue. And that is why we are talking about microinsurance helping to alleviate poverty. That is the way it can help. The government should look at this side of microinsurance as a way of alleviating poverty of its people, like they are doing in other countries we have mentioned. And that is where I look at it.
Okay, then, Prof, still, let me bring you back to these recently released guidelines. When you say microinsurance, what easily comes to mind, and it's part of what we've talked about so far, is the fact that it's insurance for the low-income earners and the very poor amongst us in society. Yeah. But under the new guideline, when you said that the sum insured under microinsurance policy shall not be more than 2 million naira per person, the question is, are you really talking about the very poor among us for microinsurance?
Well, when I come to put it at 2 million, I think it's a joke, because these people, how many people in this country, how many of these low-income earners have this asset of 2 million? Or how many of the low-income earners can boast of even 1 million? But at least they have to put something there as a limit, or to peg the maximum limit, because immediately is, like you read in the guideline, immediately is above 2 million. It's going into the realm of the conventional insurance.
Well, so would you say now that 2 million is not in the realm of conventional insurance?
2 million is there. I mean, there are cars of 2 million that you have to insure. But cleverly, NICOM remove certain property from there, like motor vehicle and this. They remove it so that you don't think a car of 2 million could still be part of microinsurance. Yes. So it's not part of it. So, but pegging it at 2 million is still okay. But you discover at last that most of these low-income earners, or these poor people we are talking about, don't even have assets up to that level.
500,000.
They don't even have 500,000. These are people that we are talking about, that they are on average, they cannot even spend $2 a day for feeding. So where would they get such an amount? But it's good, it's there. At least you know that by the time it's getting above 2 million, it's no more under the realm of microinsurance. I think it's good. But but the practitioners will be cautious enough to assure themselves that they are covering low-income people. It's not, I don't want it to be hijacked by the people, by the rich people, as can call it microinsurance. Yes.
Alright, welcome back. Moving on now, we bring you the very colorful public launch of the book, Pensions in Nigeria, written by Mr. Ezekiel Chiejina, the former DG of the NIA. It was a roll call of who is who in the insurance industry. Enjoy it.
Public servants prior to the Pension Reform Act of 2004 bore no direct responsibility by way of payroll tax for the provision of pensions. Instead, pension benefits were paid through budgetary allocations that was kept in the Consolidated Revenue Fund. This defined benefit scheme came with enormous challenges which are still prevalent under the Contributory Pension Scheme, CPS. Given the long and difficult history of pensions in Nigeria, Mr. Ezekiel Chiejina, a lawyer and an insurance icon, recently presented his book, Pensions in Nigeria, at a well-attended event at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs in Kofo, Abayomi. Chairman was Mr. Suleiman Olarewaju, who stood in for Alhaji Mohammed K. Ahmed, OON. Also in attendance were Professor Pat Utomi, Dr. Abimbola Ogunkelu, who stood in for Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, GCON, and a host of others. The book reviewer was Mr. Pascal Egewe, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Enterprise Trust Insurance Brokers Limited. In his welcome address, the chairman of the occasion, Mr. Olarewaju, said that though many people are involved in the contributory pension scheme, but very few have in-depth knowledge of how it works.
It's not easy to write a book, not to talk about pensions. All of us are involved with pension, either as contributors or as managers. But most of us really don't know many things about pension. We simply know that our salaries are deducted every day, every month. Then our employers will add some of it, and they take it to PF, send it to PFA. PFA keeps it with a custodian. Thereafter, what happens? We don't know. Then when we retire, the PFA will ask us, come and take, fill a form to come and claim your money. How they compute it, we do not know. Then they will give you option, whether you want to do annuity. What does annuity mean? Nobody tells you. Say, okay, you collect salary till a pension for 18 years. After 18 years, what happens? And I usually give my late father-in-law as example. He retired in NEPA in 1975 and lived up to last year before dying. So, if you tell me my contribution will carry me for 18 years, then where do I go from there if I live to be 110? So I begin to look at my children to come and bail me out.
In his brief remarks, the book reviewer Mr. Ughwode said that the book Pensions in Nigeria will bring a breath of fresh air to pensions discourse among scholars.
When the advert for their Volkswagen Santana product had a message which is apt here, there is nothing more to add. However, as much as I have this temptation to say that there is nothing more to add, I am driven to say something by the fact that in intellectual and professionally oriented discussion, assertiveness and magisterial proclamation of authors would, if anything, put colleagues on inquiry and on a voyage of discovery of the veracity of the author's assertions. In some instances, such bold, almost canonical statements have often created rebellion, counter-logic, and avalanche of contending issues which may either confirm or reboot the position of the author. This in itself is not bad. So if I end up doing that, forgive me. So it is a creative process which enriches the society by encouraging more research and prodigious interventions. We are challenged, therefore, to look more into this book with a hope that we would corroborate rather than reject its essence. The book is a 394-page book. It is written in excellent prose and sequential logic that leaves no person in doubt as to the fresh breath it has brought to the pension discourse in Nigeria. The editorial work is excellent, even though a few typos exist. The printing, binding, and production is unrivaled. The hard copy is a treasure to hold, while the soft copy has an alluring design which compels even a lazy reader to adopt the book as a worthy companion. The book on its dedication page reminds us of the ever-presence of God in our lives and the very important role which spouses and families of professionals play and must continue to play in stabilizing the professional's mind for critical and productive output such as this book. I therefore join the author in thanking God for sparing his life to write this book. I also commend his wife and entire family for the patience and resilience that bore this beautiful fruit.
On hand to present the book was Professor Faith Ughwode.
In the hope and belief that these books will go far, go round, and get read, I am proud and privileged to unveil this stand of books that the reviewer said had both the delectable, eatable, and irreadable parts. For the glory of God, for the reading of all.
the book presented and goodwill messages taken, the book launch started as individuals and insurance companies picked various copies of the book at different prices. Mr. Ezekiel Chejina, the author of the book Pensions in Nigeria, is a lawyer and a tested insurance professional with over 34 years in pensions and life insurance. The book, which answers many begging questions on the success and sustainability of the contributory pension scheme, also deals with the supervisory role of PENCOM, statutory audits, responsibility for the safety of pension fund and assets, ethics and corporate governance, as well as social security.
And that is our time on the program this week. Many thanks for being a part of it. Join us again next week, same time, same station for a fresh package. But in the meantime, feel free as always to connect with us on all our social media platforms. The 13th World Takaful Conference will take place this year at the Dusithani Hotel, Dubai, UAE, between the 9th and 10th of April. Yours truly, Almond, is a West Africa partner, so to participate and get a 15% discount, visit our website at www.almondfinancereports.com. Use the code ALMD15 to register. Now, there's going to be an entire session on InsurTech at the conference this year, so make plans to attend. Once again, my name is Margaret Mary Osiobo. Thanks for watching. From the entire crew, until next week, it's goodbye.